Hey guys, it's Miss Robinson here. Today we're going to be talking about how to use equations to add and subtract mixed numbers. We will be using two word problems out of our textbook, so you can either cut these problems out from your textbook, you can print them from your computer, or you can just rewrite them into your notebook. They will both be on page 430. Number 10 will be the one we're using for our notes, and number 12 is the one that will be a practice problem for you guys. Okay, so we will be starting on page 15. I do have 4 pages for each set of notes. So on page 15A, which would be the first left page, you're going to label it like you see here. You're going to want to write your title at the top, the page number here, the date in the right corner, and then your learning goal there. You will write your notes on page 15B, which is the opposite page of 15A. This is what your final notes will look like, and you will need to use color and label. Now, once you're going to flip your page and you're going to have page 15C, which is the next left page, this is where you're going to complete your practice problem. And I have all the instructions here. They will also be posted on our homework flyer for this week as well, so you can go back and review that. And your last page, page 15D, we will use for our reflection for this week, so we'll do this part in class. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with our notes. We're going to take a look at this problem, and it reads, Joel is 2 1/2 inches shorter than Carlos. Carlos is 1 1/4 inches taller than Dan. If Dan is 58 1/4 inches tall, how many inches tall is Joel? Because there is a lot of information in this problem, the very first step I want to do is my buck strategy. So I box my question here, which is what I have in red, and it reads, how many inches tall is Joel? I always want to do that because it lets me know what am I trying to figure out. Then after I do that, I want to underline my keywords. So my keywords here are shorter and taller. This lets me know that I am going to be subtracting to get to my final answer. After I do that, I want to circle any important information that I need in order to solve this problem. I want to make sure that I'm using the information that tells me that Joel is 2 1/2 inches shorter than Carlos. I also want to use the information that says Carlos is 1 1/4 inches taller than Dan. And finally, I want to use the information that says that Dan is 58 1/4 inches tall. After I've done that, I want to take a look at my original question and I want to rewrite it into a statement. So the question was, how many inches tall is Joel? And my statement is Joel is blank inches tall. Once I get my final answer, I want to make sure that I plug it back into this sentence to see if it makes sense. Now that I'm done with my buck strategy, I now want to rewrite my equations that I'm going to use in order to get to my final answer. So the first equation I have here is D equals 58 1/4 inches. The D represents Dan, and I basically used the circled information, the important information that I did from my buck strategy. So the D represents Dan, and he equals 58 1/4 inches. The next equation is D plus 1 1/4 equals C. I got this information from my second important information that I circled. Carlos is 1 1/4 inches taller than Dan. So this lets me know that Carlos's height is going to be more than Dan's, which tells me that I'm going to be adding. The third equation is C minus 2 1/2 equals J. I got this information from the first important information that I circled. Joel is 2 1/2 inches shorter than Carlos. So this lets me know that Joel's height is going to be shorter than Carlos's height, which tells me I'm going to be subtracting. Once I get my equations, then I could go ahead and solve them out. So I already know that what Dan's height is, so I can plug it into my second equation for 58 1/4 plus 1 1/4. My denominators are the same, so I can go ahead and add like normal. 58 plus 1 is 59. 1/4 plus 1/4 is 2/4, which simplifies to 59 1/2. Carlos's height minus 2 1/2 equals Joel's height. Well, I just solved for Carlos's height, so I plug that into my third equation. 59 1/2 minus 2 1/2. My denominators are the same, so I can go ahead and subtract like normal. 59 minus 2 is 57. 1/2 minus 1/2 is 0. So my final answer is 57. I need to go ahead and plug it back into my original statement, which will read Joel is 57 inches tall. On page 15C, you need to go ahead and paste this question, rewrite it, or you can just print it out from your computer and solve this one out, just like how we did that example problem. You need to do your buck strategy first, then write your equations, and then solve them out. Thank you guys, and if you have questions, let me know.